All right, so now you know that I'm in a different uniform. Now what happens is this jacket is in the tool crib, hanging up. Please put it back there. Before you start cutting anything, put this jacket on. It's going to help save some of your clothes if you happen to do a Michael Jackson and catch yourself on fire or something. All right, so we're at the point where we're ready to light our torch and cut some metal here. All right. Turn on my gas. Light it. Adjust it. Whoops. Now this gets very touchy because of the gloves that you're wearing. Okay? Put my oxygen on. Get the flame I'm looking for. Now, what we're after is a flame where I can cut right straight along here. So I put my helmet down. Come in. Heat it up. Back off. Hit the pressure. Cut the metal. Now, that's all you have to do. All right? If you have any questions about doing any of this, ask before you go off on a tangent there. Now, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take another piece of, well, you don't need to take another piece, but just be sure that you grab this, pull it out, secure it, go back, lighten your torch, and what we want you to do is inside, just draw yourself a little box. Use your soapstone, and some of this is kind of hard to get a hold of, but just practice with it. And what you just want to do is make a little box for yourself. That's all you're trying to do is notch out a box. All right? So you're going to cut a little piece of square steel out. Again, be sure that the hose is behind you, your equipment's on, turn your gas on, light it up. Now remember, this is the number one problem, students. Don't bring that flame back. See that gap? That gap cannot be there. All right, that means that you got too much acetylene coming out. You have to back it off until it collects and connects to the tip, and then get rid of the soot. Now you're not going to get rid of all of it because it's going to, depending on if the tip is dirty or what. Turn your oxygen on slow. Now because this is a light piece of metal, I don't need to have all that hissing going on because it's really thin. If it was like 1/4 inch or more, then you might want to put more oxygen on it. Now again, you know the basic principle of this, just practice. Now the sheet or the metal that you have is all coming in different sizes. So some may be 1/4 inch, some may be even 1/2 inch. It doesn't matter, just play with it. All right, put all your safety stuff on. come right down on top of it, right in the corner where you want to start cutting. Allow it to get hot, pop a hole, come to one end. Now you'll notice the heat will start building up on these gloves. That's why you can't use the normal gloves. All right? And you notice that the heat on this, because it's such soft metal, it'll bend. All right? But we're not worried about neatness right now. What we're worried about is you having a clear understanding of how to use the equipment. Therefore, once you've done that, and remember, set your pieces off to the side because after you cool them off, because you need to show it to the instructor. But remember, you're not going to light this and cut something without somebody physically being there on site with you. And again, it takes a little bit of patience because you're trying to work with equipment that you're not used to working with. All right? Now, the piercing, you've already done basically, but we'll do it again just because you had to do it to cut out that square. All right, that was punching that hole through there. But let's go back through and we'll do a couple more on this one. Relight it. Again, get rid of that distance between there. Put your helmet down, go over, pierce it. Now you'll notice all I did was pop a bunch of holes in this metal. What I would also suggest that you do is practice with different thicknesses because it's going to react differently. All right? I can sit here and teach you or show you how to do all this, but until you actually physically get on it, it isn't going to help much. All right, the next one that we want you to do is just a slot cut. A slot cut is nothing more than starting somewhere in here and just going along a straight line so that you have metal on both sides left. Again, remember, try not to, we're only trying to get you to understand this thoroughly, all right? Not to become an expert in this thing. Again, turn your gas on, light it, adjust it. Now, I got a feeling that this is a little dirty tip here because the way it's acting. If it starts acting up like that, just let us know and we'll help you out. A slot cut. You noticed how I moved back and forth on that one? You got to be watching because as you're making that slot, if you're going too fast, the molten metal is going to move back in there and close behind you. All right, I just wanted to kind of trim it up. It looked like it was getting close to it. The next one is a bevel cut. All right, same process. Light, adjust, now on this, once you get it heated, you want to turn it at about a 45-degree angle. On a line, straight down. Now it isn't obvious that that's a 45 because of the thinness of the metal, all right? But what I would suggest is getting a thicker piece of metal, probably a 1/4 inch or so that's in the scrap, and just practice with it, all right? Remember, this is not an art. I mean, it is once you get really good at it. But just pay attention to how to use the tool and learn from one step to another. Now the other object that you're going to do is called washing. We don't have that yet, but when it does come, it's going to have a bolt on it that's been welded in place. Or not so much. It might have a bolt or it may have a nut on it. Either way, your operation is to wash it out, and it takes a special tip. All right? So while we have this, let me show you what you're going to end up doing. When you get to washing, which is the last part of the exercise, you're going to unscrew the head here. Maybe and maybe not. Unscrew the head and set this off to the side. All right? There'll be another head that'll go on this, and it's a washing tip. It's the only other tip that we have. Set it back on there, light it up the same way as you did normally. The only difference is how you conduct yourself while you're doing it. It's designed because it has a curved tip to it. And you don't have to tighten this down real firm. Is when you're going to take off that nut or the bolt, remember, once you get it hot, and this tip is curved, so you don't need to tilt it because it's already slanted. But once you do that, what you're washing is you're going out like this. And this is where your oxygen's kicking in. So it's blowing the debris out. And that's what you're trying to do, is wash off or wash away the bolt or nut that's on there. All right? That's typically used when the thing is so packed on there that you can't get it off with an impact wrench or any other device, so therefore you need to cut it off. Now, once you get real good at it, it's pretty simple to do, but it does take an art. All right? Well, again, we are not here to teach you verbatim. If you want to learn this in more detail, go see welding. All right? But what we want you to understand is how to use the tools safely. All right? Now, we're done for the day, remember? All my equipment is stowed. Everything is turned off right now, except this one valve. I come over, I turn off my gas. I open up my gas and allow my gauges to drain. Once I see that they're all down to 0, I back off my regulator, close my valve. I go over to my oxygen and do the same thing. Now this one's open, so all I have to do is open this one. And once I watch, and I physically look at my gauges and be sure that they're backed off and down to 0, I back off my Knobs, close all my knobs. Gently, and stow away all the equipment. Now, all the equipment has a place to go, so please be sure that you wrap this stuff up neatly, be sure the box is cleaned, and everything's ready for the next student. Again, before you leave the work area, sweep up the area, put all scrap metal away. Dump your water, be sure it's ready for the next student.